need to do the same thing. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. And that's the issue with the church. There are different gifts. Everyone have a different purpose. Everybody has a different mandate to carry out so that there can be a balance in the church. The reason why there's certain things lacking in the church today is because everybody want to preach. Everybody want to be in front of camera. Everybody want to do this. Everybody want to prophesy. Everybody want to do this. Nobody is trying to find out what lane they should be in and carry out whatever mandate. It's like being in a relay, track and field, and being in a relay. Everyone has to be in their own lane. If everyone is in the same lane, how are they going to pass on the baton? How is it going to be effective? Everybody's going to be tumbling over each other. And that's what I'm sensing. That's what I'm seeing in the church today. Y'all already know it's your Angie from Angie Motivates 101, and we are back with another video. So in this video, we'll be discussing a question that was asked because I asked you guys a question on Instagram and you guys responded. So the question is, how did I know what my purpose is? How do I find my purpose? And we'll be discussing that. I'll be sharing my own experience with you guys, and also we'll be unlearning and learning some stuff as we go regarding to us finding our purpose. So don't forget to like, share, and comment. And don't forget to click on that notification bell, because I don't know why you're not subscribing, because listen, and guys, remember, it is unedited, it's raw. I'm not editing anything because we're not cutting nothing, we're just gonna paste. Oh, and you can get your lip gloss from Angelic Cosmetic. But we just gonna cut and paste, we're just gonna be real, we're just gonna talk. We're gonna talk as if like we're literally in the same room. So don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ignore my bandage, I literally just put it on last night. I don't know why it's looking like this, but let's go straight into the video. Alright guys, so the question is, how do I find my purpose? How do I find what my purpose is? And that is actually a good question. So let me share my experience. You guys think it's perfectly fine with me sitting in front of a camera on YouTube, on Facebook Live, on Instagram. It is not easy for me. I don't like it, but it's just me being obedient to the voice of God. So when I first started my ministry on Facebook, which is called Christian Journey Ministry, that ministry was taken from a place of pain for purpose sake. So my pain was necessary for purpose, right? It was for purpose sake, my pain. I was in a season where I just did not want to do anything with church people. Absolutely nothing. I was coming from a place in the world where I was depressed to a place inside of the church, and the people who I thought was supposed to help me become who God wanted me to be and help me to be better. The place where I was running from to find love literally was pushing me back out. And so I became depressed also in the church because of stuff that, church folks, quote unquote, church folks did to me, said. It just pushed me back into that state of depression. And I remember praying to God, literally on my stomach, praying to God. There was time where I just could not pray. There was just tears. Tears were full. Oh my gosh. Tears filled my pillows. Like, no joke. I remember I was on my knees and I was praying, and I just could not, and I'm kind of getting emotional because I can feel and I could remember how it felt. I remember I was on my knees and I was praying to God, and I just burst out in tears because at this point I just didn't have the words to describe how I was feeling, and I just burst out in tears. And for some reason I got on my stomach, and I remember I was like, God, speak to me. I need to hear your voice. I was craving to hear the voice of God. I was like, God, you gotta speak to me. This cannot be. I don't want to feel like this, because I was really in a dark place, a really, really dark place. And God literally pushed me to that limit so I could build a relationship with him. And literally everything goes back to the first video that we did, religion versus relationship. When you have a relationship with God, you don't have to find your purpose. When you have a relationship with God, you will walk in your purpose. And that's the answer. How do I find my purpose? You don't have to find your purpose. Once you have a relationship with God, you will walk in your purpose, because guess what? When you have a relationship with God, you will know the voice of God. You'll be able to distinguish and be like, oh, that's God speaking. When you have a relationship with God, you will obey the voice of God. You will do what God has commanded you to do without no doubt, without no hesitation, because of the relationship. You have built a bond where you know His voice. Listen, I could be down the block and there's somebody that's walking in front of me. And because of the bond, because of the relationship I have with the person, just by seeing them behind, I know who they are. Just by hearing their voice from afar, I know who they are. When you have a relationship with God, you will be able to distinguish His voice. If you don't know the voice of God and you cannot tell when God is speaking and when someone else is speaking, then you have to check your relationship with God, because that means you need to build that bond and that connection with God more in order to distinguish. Because a lot of people will speak into your ears and a lot of people will say things, but when you know the voice of God and when they speak, you be like, that's not God, and you will automatically shut it down. And a lot of us end up in certain situations, and a lot of us make wrong decision. Yes, it might be a part of our journey as a Christian, but a lot of us make bad decisions because we don't know the voice of God, or we did not know the voice of God. So we listen to someone else, or we listen to our own thoughts, and we go by our own feelings and our emotions, and we dismiss what God said or what God is saying at the moment. So when you build a relationship with God, you will walk in your purpose. You will not find it, you will walk in it, right? And I built at that time, prayer was the only thing. Literally, guys, prayer is all that I know. I don't know anything else but to pray. When no one is there for me, I know to pray, right? When I feel alone, I know to pray. You know, some people will depend on other people for comfort and such forth. That would be the last of my source. I am telling you the honest truth. That would be the last of my source. My first source is to pray, because that's the relationship, that's the bond, that's the connection that I have built with Him. That whatever I'm going through, whatever I don't understand, I'm going to pray. So I remember praying on the floor. I remember saying, God, listen, I don't want to have to do anything to do with church people. I've shared my testimony. I think it's actually on the channel, so you can go view it. I was like, I don't want to have to do nothing with church people. And when I continue to build that relationship with God, just being honest with how I feel, not ignoring my feelings, not ignoring my emotions, but I said, God, listen, I can't stand them. I don't want to have to do nothing with these church people. This cannot be real. How can I be coming from the world, right, where I don't feel like I fit in, I don't feel loved, to come to you and I don't feel loved? Like, where do I fit in at, right? And during that time, God literally, as I build that relationship with God, I begin to know His voice. Not completely, but it's a little bit. And, you know, He instructed me, listen, start a ministry. Because at that time, and not necessarily to start a ministry, it was like start praying on Facebook. I've always felt like, because of things that I've also went through in the past, and even present, I've always felt like which can be bad and can be good, right? I always felt like I need to be there for people that are going through similar things that I went through, because no one was there for me. But where I go wrong, where you can go wrong with that, is that you cannot fill the void that they're feeling. People who are going through what they're going through, even mentally, they have to acknowledge that they're going through it. They have to acknowledge their feeling, their emotion, and then they can deal with it. Because a lot of people ignore their emotion, they ignore how they're feeling, and then you will try to help them and they're shutting you out and you are hurting yourself. So you can't help somebody that's not trying to help themselves. And it's the same way with God, right? We're going through what we're going through, but we're shutting God out of it. So, God is trusting me. Start praying on Facebook. And I started praying for people who had similar situation as mine. And that over time, that built the relationship. Over time, that built my prayer life. Over time, I found out what my purpose is. Because as I continued to pray on Facebook, I found out what my gifts were. I found out that I had the gift of discernment. I found out that, I have the gift, the word of knowledge. And all these things started coming because of the relationship that I have with God, because of the connection that I have with God. Because when you have that connection with God, then you will be able to hear. And also, a lot of us are disobedient to what God wants us to do. A lot of us will hear the voice of God, and we're disobedient to what God is saying. And let me tell you something. The foolish things that we have heard, everything that is foolish, a lot of times that's God speaking. And the reason why I say that is because the other day, I had to go to the laundromat when I was in New York. And for those who don't know, I'm no longer in New York. To go to New York, thank God I don't have to do that anymore. Whew. But I had to go to New York, and not had to go to New York. I had to go to the laundromat. And there was one down the block that was literally a 5 minutes walk. And there's one that I had to take a cab to go to. And it was just bothering my spirit because it's like I was being dragged in both places. And I paused. I'm like, God, where do you want me to go? And my spirit was resting in taking the cab. But I was really stressed out about it because I'm like, why am I going to spend $20 back and forth when I can use the $20 to wash my clothes as well? But anyways, I was like, this don't make no sense, but I'm just going to obey because I've gotten to the point where I know how God speaks to me. So God speaks to each and every one of us differently. God will speak to us, I believe you could actually hear God speaking to you, or he will speak to you through dreams, or he will speak to you through what people would say signs. There's so many different ways that God speaks to us, right? Or numbers. There's so many different things that God speaks to us. You now have to find out how God speaks to you. For me, I'm a seer more than a hearer. So that means I will see things visually, and then I'll hear after. So for example, let me give an example. When I am praying, my eyes are closed. But as I begin to pray and as the Spirit of the Lord make intercession, I will begin to see things revealed before me. So for example, right now as I'm speaking to you, I'm seeing an open door and I'm seeing a light. And I feel like I'm about to go off and speak in tongues right now, but I'm not going to. I'll look into that after. But, as I speak, I will see visuals sometimes, and then God will then reveal what that thing is to me. So I'm a seer more than a hearer. Some people actually hear the audible voice of God, and then they will see, or then they will hear, and then they will speak. God also speaks to me in dreams, and and then when I wake up, I will kind of pause, write what I saw, or just pause to try to interpret what I saw. And if God speaks to you in dreams, it's good for you to have a journal. It's good for you to have a book so that you can write it down, because there are dreams that will be exactly like it is, like a vision. You can also have open visions. I'm gonna have to do another video on all of these stuff if you guys are interested, but I'll definitely do a video on that. But there's like open visions. There are dreams that you have to interpret. There are dreams that literally come out. There's visions that is like on point, like to the T, exactly how you dreamt it, exactly how you saw it, is exactly how it happened. But I feel like the mistake that we make in trying to find our purpose is trying to find our purpose in somebody else's. I'm gonna say that again. We try to find our purpose in somebody else's. We try to fit in a place that is not meant for us. For example, God will use me, and there is a time where I have to be real with y'all and real with the young people, because I am the voice of this generation, and what this generation needs is realness. You gotta be real, you gotta be honest. I've never been the type of person that pretty up something. I'm never that type of person. I am willing to get into your shoes, understand how you're feeling, understanding what what you're going through, what you experience, and then speak to you on that level, right? So don't try to fit in a position or in somebody else's purpose. What is your purpose? What is it that God has always driven you to? What is it that you are passionate about? What is it that bothers your spirit? So for me, what really bothers me is the condition of our young people today. So I know without a shadow of a doubt that I am drawn to the youths. I am called to the youths. My passion for the youths. What bothers my spirit is the youths. So that is what my purpose is. My purpose is the youths. I'm trying to say that what bothers you. So yes, this is your purpose. The young people need to do that. Young people need to do this, whatever, But what am I going to do in order to help that? Right? Am I going to pray? Am I going to teach? Am I going to preach? Whatever. And that also helps you to figure out what your mandate is. Also, another thing that you have to figure out along the way is your gifts. What are your gifts? And again, it goes back to having a relationship with God. Now we're going to unlearn and learn some stuff. As mentioned before, you do not find your purpose. That's incorrect. I don't see nowhere in the Bible that states find your purpose. You build a relationship with God. You build a relationship with God, and then you will walk in your purpose. He guides, he instructs, he directs. Because again, when you know the voice, when you have a relationship with God, there is no way you can have a relationship with God and you don't know the voice of God. Right? So how to find your purpose, how to find your purpose. I might answer the question, but I don't like that term find. But you build a relationship with God, right? You learn how he speaks to you. Learn his voice. God speaks to us differently, okay? So you got to know how he speaks to you, right? Thirdly, be obedient to his voice. Because a lot of us know his voice, but we are so disobedient that is hindering our growth, right? Don't try to be someone that you're not. Not because I sit in front of a camera and I do this, and not because I pray on Facebook, mean you need to do the same thing. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. And that's the issue with the church. There are different gifts. Everyone has a different purpose. Everybody has a different mandate to carry out so that there can be a balance in the church. The reason why there are certain things lacking in the church today is because everybody want to preach. Everybody want to be in front of camera. Everybody want to do this. Everybody want to prophesy. Everybody want to do this. Nobody is trying to find out what lane they should be in and carry out whatever mandate. It's like being in a relay, track and field, and being in a relay. Everyone has to be in their own lane. If everyone is in the same lane, how are they going to pass on the baton? How is it going to be effective? Everybody's going to be tumbling over each other. And that's what I'm sensing. That's what I'm seeing in the church today. Everybody want to be in the same lane. Everybody want to be in front of the camera. Everybody want to preach. Everyone want to teach. No. If we all have a relationship with God, we will know which direction to go and what lane to be in. And a lot of us are being pushed into man's agenda, and a lot of us are influenced by man's mandate for our lives, in the sense where I'm a part of a church, and because I'm a part of a church, the leaders over me don't even know the gift, or they can't even see the spiritual gift that's on my life or what God has called me to be. So I'm just there, and it's also a personal thing. You have to figure that out yourself. You can't rely on your leaders to do that. But I'm just saying, right? Excuse me. They don't know your spiritual gifts, so they just push you in just different departments. For example, you're called to the youths, right? So you're called to the youths, your purpose, you're passionate about the youth. So it will be, your gift, your passion, your purpose, and your mandate And what you need to carry will be effective if you were placed in a youth department, but instead they have you in the women's department. So now you're all type of confused because you're carrying out a manly mandate. That's like, I don't even know if that's correct, but y'all get what I'm saying. You're carrying out a different mandate, a different agenda other from God. So now you're confused because you're fulfilling something that is not, and I'm not going to say, let's not say it's not purposeful, but you can effectively function within that department because your purpose is not there. You're going to carry out the task, but you're not carrying out the mandate that's on your life. There is a difference. You can carry out the task that they have given you and what you need to do, but you're not carrying out the godly mandate that is on your life. And this is why it is important for you to know what your purpose is. So you need to seek God. Seek Him first, the kingdom of God. And all these things that you're asking God will be added unto you. Yes, all these things will be added unto you. Your purpose, your gifts, your ministry, all of it will be added unto you. Don't look at somebody like, oh, it's good to admire somebody, but do not copy somebody. Because I see that that's happening nowadays. We see somebody that's preaching, or they have a different or a unique preaching style. Everybody has a preaching style. They have a preaching style. They have their way how they speak. They have their way how they minister. They have their way how they sing. Whatever the case may be, everybody has a style. Because if everybody has the same style, then I don't know. Because I don't know. Not everybody can do what I do. Not everybody has the personality that I have to reach out to the youths, right? In order for you to reach out to the youths or be called to the youths, you have to have a level of understanding. You can't be all high and mighty, okay? You have to have a level of understanding alongside with knowledge and wisdom, right? You can't be, oh, yeah, Baba, you shouldn't do that. You see, that you are a sinner, because what we end up doing is condemning them, not understanding what they're dealing with currently. Not to say that you are going to succumb to their lifestyle, but you have to have a level of understanding. Because honestly, how we see people dress, how we see people behave, how we see people talk, there is always something behind it, right? There's always something behind it. Sometimes you will have I feel like every church have that one particular person in the church that feel like they can talk to anybody anyhow. That same particular person went through a whole lot of stuff, trauma, so many stuff that they have not dealt with. So now it has become their lifestyle, right? How people dress, how people talk, how people speak. Some of those stuff they were formed and they were set and molded, that's the word, molded in a certain way because of trauma, right? So the moment you would do something or say something, it would tend to trigger that, and then you will see them react in a certain way that you would not expect. You will have some of the young people cursing you out. They don't want to curse you out, but because you triggered something, you triggered a trauma, right? Or a suppressed memory. And this is why we have to have a level of understanding when it comes to the young people in general, even in church. Not even the young people, everyone entirely. I know it gets frustrated where people can just be nasty, but we have to understand how human behavior in social environments comes to, right? People don't just behave that way because they want to behave that way. They behave that way because there's something behind it. There is more to it, right? Just like the homeless. The homeless is not homeless because they want to be homeless. They're homeless because there is a lot of stuff that we're behind that reflects, there's a deeper problem behind it that reflects why they are homeless. And, so it is in the church. So, your purpose, and a lot of times I realize also that your purpose stems from a place that you were also hurt from, or there was a level of pain there. So perhaps, I hope, but this is just reality. Perhaps you were molested, right? You were raped, you were sexually assaulted when you were younger, right? And you feel as if This is something that you want to speak on. This is something that you want to build a ministry from, but you are scared of. Let me tell you something. Seek the Lord concerning it, because there's a lot of people in the church who is dealing with that level of trauma. And if that's something that, that's your level of pain, and you realize that you're passionate about it, then that could very well be your purpose or your ministry, one of your purpose and your ministry, right? So it's this: pain plus passionate equal purpose. Say it again: pain plus passion equal your purpose. Your pain, what you're passionate about, majority of the time result in your purpose. So I hope I answered your question. I hope we unlearn to learn a lot of stuff, and I hope you were blessed by this. I am truly encouraged because I have personally come a far way, right? It took my pain to what I was passionate about, because my pain developed to where, I became passionate about prayer. I love prayer. I'm not a preacher. I don't want to preach. I don't have to teach, but I will pray any day, all day, every day. That's what I'm passionate about, right? I'm also passionate about young people. So, my pain results from, people just not being, there for me when I was younger, or, what have happened to me in the church as it relates to young people, plus what I'm passionate about results in my purpose, right? And that's what I'm doing. And also, my pain caused me to build a relationship with God. And with that, I'm able to hear his voice. So when I hear God say, listen, go to that sister and tell her this. Or let me tell you something. It's not your mind. It is not your mind. I just want to say that. It is not your mind. Let me tell you something. If you are just there on your phone and you're not thinking about a particular thing, and you could be there on Facebook strolling, and you just hear, call Leisha. You better call Leisha. The devil is not going to tell you anything good. The devil is not going to tell you anything that will benefit somebody, or, anything that will bring healing or deliverance or strength to anybody. You could be doing something and God is, and you hear a voice say, go pray for that person over there. Go ahead, but make sure when you go over there, ask them, is it okay if I pray with you? Right? And you pray with them. And as you do that, and as you practice that, and as you continue to hear the voice of God, and you practice obeying the voice of God, then you will also develop how God speaks to you. Because I tell you all the time, I am a very shy person, and people don't believe that. I'm a very shy person. I do not like the forefront type of thing, but because of the relationship that I build with God, because of the mandate and the purpose of my life, I have no other choice but to be obedient. Because I'm gonna have to deal with the consequences of my bad decision afterwards, or the consequences of me being obedient. So I'm like, let me just be obedient. So a lot of times people's like, oh, you're so bold. I'm still working on my boldness. I'm really not. It's just me trying to be obedient. That's all. So if I'm there and I'm hearing a whole conversation about somebody else, I'm going to go to them and say, you know what? I hear in the spirit this. And a lot of times people will respond and be like, how did you know that? Oh my God, that's so true. And they will tell you a story. And that also helps to boost your confidence in knowing that what you heard was God. So guys, I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And your girl is out. Bye.